Hello class. So I'm putting out this video today because this is probably the last video that I'll be making for the semester. Right now you guys are in the process of completing your research proposal, right? Your final drafts are due tonight, or I'm sorry, not your final drafts, but your rough drafts are due tonight. Your final drafts are due on Wednesday. And so I just want to talk through a little bit of this kind of nebulous Project 5 that you might have seen floating here throughout the semester. Now, Project 5 essentially stands in for a final exam. So we don't have an exam in this class. What we do have is this reflective letter. Now, you can almost think of this as kind of like the capstone of the course, or almost kind of like a longer in-class essay that you might write if this were a face-to-face class. But what it is essentially is it's an opportunity for you to sit down and take stock of everything that you've just done over the course of the semester. Now, the reason that we do it like this is that at this point you'll have everything fresh in your mind. You'll be able to think critically about the things that you've done so far. And so what you'll be doing essentially is tapping into those same skills and strategies that you've used in prior, say, process memos and things like that, or reflective blogs, where you're going to start to think and talk about your own writing, this kind of idea of metacognition, right? Thinking about your own thinking. And so this will be due, I believe it's due let me just double check so I don't say the wrong date. Yep, it's due Thursday, August 3rd, which is the last official day of the semester. And so after that, we're done and hooray, the semester's over. And so I want to take a look at what this thing actually is. And so it is literally a letter that you're writing to me. And so in the same kind of format that you would use in a normal letter, dear Mr. Shumway. And what it is it's your opportunity to tell me the things that you've worked on this semester, how much you've improved, what you think you learned, what your expectations were. So it's an opportunity for you to reflect on your whole process and your growth this semester. So let's take a look at the prompt. In this letter, your goal will be to reflect on the work you've completed throughout the course of the semester. In other words, you're being asked to think and write about your research and writing practices. A good way to begin framing your reflection letter is to think through the following questions. So number one, so these are the questions that you should be answering in your reflective letter. Number one, prior to this class, what did I know about writing and researching my discipline? Okay. So, this could be anything from, I knew a lot because I've been working in this field, or I didn't know anything, but this is my major, so I wanted to learn. So again, there's no wrong answer, but what did you know about writing and research in your discipline? Number two, when enrolling in this course, what did you want to learn about writing and researching in your discipline? So what were you hoping to find out, right? Or if you didn't know that this class was structured like this, what were you hoping to learn? If you didn't know that we'd be focusing on your discipline, what were your goals for the semester? Number three, what did I actually learn about writing and researching? And so this is an easy one. What new things did you learn, or what knowledge did you expand upon? Things like that. Number four, how has your writing and researching practices changed? How have they changed throughout the semester? And so if you think about all the things that we've done a lot. We've implemented a lot of different strategies, right? We've talked about rough draft writing. We've talked about scaffolding writing by doing those little blogs and building up to a bigger essay. We've talked about workshopping in your peer groups. We've done some revisions, moving the Lit Review from Project 3 into Project 4. We've also done all kinds of different researching practices, from doing keywords to doing that infographic, but the kind of visual mapping of your research, to kind of a multimodal presentation of your research. So there's a lot of things that you can draw on here. And so how have your practices changed throughout the semester? And so those are the four main questions that you should be addressing in this letter. And if you run out of ideas about what this could be referring to, here's some ideas: brainstorming, drafting, narrowing topics. So how have you implemented or developed or refined any of these strategies here for number four? So your goal then is to write a letter to me that discusses each of these four questions. Okay. Obviously you can answer more questions, but these are the four that I'll be looking for. Now to do this, I'm going to ask you to focus on these things down here. So number one, you should make direct reference to at least two projects that you wrote this semester, one of which must be Project 4. So in other words, when you tell me that you changed your practices, or that you actually learned something, instead of just saying that, I'm going to want you to pull out some of your own writing from any of your projects as proof. And so, for example, if you say, my practices for researching have changed because in Project 1 you can see I did this, in Project 4 you can see I did this, and actually bring in quotes and evidence from your essay. So you can say, like, look, one of the things that changed in my writing is my drafting. You can see here's an example of my rough draft from Project 1. Here's an example of my rough draft from Project 4. You can see the differences. It's a lot more blah, 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 blah. And so the idea here is that you're pulling in actual evidence from your own work and using it to support your discussion of these 4 questions. Okay. So when you say, what did I actually learn about researching and writing in my discipline? You might say, I learned that, authors, do X, Y, and Z. And look, here's an example of from my lit review where I see them doing that, stuff like that. So again, pulling actual evidence out of your work to use to support your discussion here. So you'll be referencing 2 projects, one of which has to be Project 4, the other which can be any project of your choosing. You may also reference any informal writing or class assignments we've done, so blogs, stuff like that. The other one is have a clear goal for the reflection. So in other words, be clear about what you feel like you've achieved and how the work you've done in 3010 has produced changes in your writing and researching. So start out with that strong thesis, like throughout this semester I've grown as a writer, or throughout this semester I've learned a lot about how my community, exchanges knowledge, or whatever it is. Just try to have that kind of one grounding idea, like, your growth as a writer, your development of different tools that you can use, or you've gained a lot of knowledge about your field, right? So have some central idea that kind of ties all this together. Otherwise, you'll just kind of float off and start rifling off different anecdotes. And so if you have like this kind of central theme or central idea of like, throughout the semester I did this, then everything kind of goes along with that. All right, so just to recap, again, this shouldn't be a lot of extra work because it is just asking you to write about yourself. There are no wrong answers as long as you're answering the questions, citing at least 2 projects, one of which is Project 4. If you do that, that's all we're looking for. Okay, so just, they're generally about 2 pages. So just sit down and think about each of these questions, pull in evidence from your essays to kind of help you talk about your growth or your progress, and that'll be it. Okay, so it'll be a little weird when you start, but don't feel like you're talking too much about yourself or whatever. Like this should all be very focused on you. It should be very first person. I did this, I did that. So just make sure that you are, addressing these questions. So if you do have any questions, guys, let me know. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. But again, all this is it's literally a letter you're writing to me. Dear Mr. Shumway, throughout this semester I've really grown as a writer and I have learned a lot about my community, and here are my answers to these 4 questions. Here are some examples from my essays that support these. Thank you, goodbye. Right, so that's all we're looking for. All right, guys, I will be in contact with you soon. Remember that your Project 4s are due on Wednesday. Because of the quick turnaround, I won't have a ton of time to get to your rough draft, so I'll probably post more of a video if you guys need it, but let me know if you guys need help, and if not, I will talk to you guys later. All right, thanks, bye.